Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Miller.
Thank you. Very enjoyable. Good evening. And to begin with, yet another foray into the world of men and women. That is, to me, exactly how the world breaks down. It's not by continents and countries and races. I really believe it's right down the middle, men and women, and that's good. I think it's healthy to know that even as we're all sitting here tonight, all over the world, zillions of people are sitting in their living rooms looking at someone else saying, "Why don't you leave me alone?" "I don't want to go dancing." It's very comforting somehow. And I actually think that I have distilled the worst problem with men and the worst problem with women, and I think this is a good place to begin. The problem with men don't hear a word women say. The problem with women hear every word men say. And we want you to cut it out. Before we begin, then, a little background. First of all, women have been called the weaker sex, which is not true. We all know the story of the woman whose baby gets trapped under the car and she gets a surgeon, lifts up that car and saves the baby, you know. Her husband was probably standing there going, "Honey, look, we'll make another one." Come on, we got tickets, let's go, you know. But she lifts up that car and throws it on him. Or she should. The point is, women aren't weaker than men. I know someone is going to say, "Wait a minute, the average guy could beat the average woman in arm wrestling." Well, first of all, so what? Second of all, that's not strength. That's force. And there's a difference. Let me tell you something about strength. My mother can call the office, pay the bills, do the taxes, show the plumber which pipes need caulking, prepare Thanksgiving dinner for 30, write, address, and mail out thank you notes, Christmas cards, and wedding invitations to 750,000 people. Then, in the afternoon, bandage an arm, set a bone, deliver the neighbor's baby, take out her own appendix. Retile the bathroom, reset the clocks, repaint the den, reshingle the roof, reseed the lawn, repave the street, refry the beans, release the hostages, renounce a regime. And all of this while on the phone. This is the capacity of a woman. This is strength. Now, my father can turn on the TV, open a beer, recline the Barca-lounger, and all of this while sleeping. This is the capacity of a man. This is not strength. And by the way, which side do you think I take after? If I carry the empty cereal box from the counter to the trash, it's Miller time. The point is, women aren't weaker than men. We're different, obviously. We remember differently. We forget things differently. We're very selective about that on both sides. We all know that the same guy who has no trouble memorizing every batting average since 1931 somehow can never remember his girlfriend's birthday. And the same woman who can tell you which scarf she wore on your 5th date somehow can't recall how long the oil light's been flashing on the dashboard. Neither can I, by the way, but never mind that now. We look at the world differently. Men love to wrap their egos in huge issues. Men love to think they're in charge of all sorts of things. Oh, boy. My mother has said this for years about my father. My mother has always said, oh, your father takes care of the big things in life, like are the planets still circling the sun? I take care of the little things like, Milt, I think you just hit an antelope. Oh, and by the way, the oil light's flashing. So we're very different in that way. Women know some things men don't know. Women know when men lie to them. I know it's possible some guys here don't know that. You should know that. Women know when men lie to them. Oh, yes. Oh yeah. Absolutely. You would best learn that because it's absolutely true. To women, we look like Pinocchio. I'm not kidding. Oh, it's true. Sometimes men pretend they didn't hear the question. And women know this means he's about to lie to you. Every woman at one time or another said to her boyfriend that, you were home last night, right? And she knows that if he goes, okay. He's thinking of a lie. Oh, was I home last night? Well, if he coughs, too, he hasn't been home in a month. So let's not lie when we get caught either. As women well know, the reason men are no good at playing dumb is most of the time we're not playing. I think there's still a double standard, especially as concerns sexual experience. I mean, let's be honest, young men are still expected to go out and be fruitful, shall we say. Young women are expected to be fruitless, I suppose. Which raises the interesting question, if the young women are fruitless, with whom are the young men being fruitful? Statistics tell us 10% are being fruitful with each other. Or being fruity, if you prefer. Which, of course, means the other 90% are locked in their rooms being fruitful with themselves. Which, believe me, is fruitless. It's frugal, but futile. Now, of course, the truth is that virtually all women will have had some sexual experience before you meet them. Victor Hugo said it best, a woman who gives her heart sincerely retains her virtue, which is true. But a lot of men have a problem with the fact that their girlfriends weren't, well, sitting on blocks of ice waiting for them to come along. These men should realize that if society were still sacrificing virgins, their girlfriends would be safe. So safe that if the high priest picked her name out of the hat, he'd go, no. Remember the Christmas party? Oh, brother, spin it again. Give it a good spin this time, you know. So with that as background now, let's explore. First of all, men don't hear a word women say. I mean, men don't hear a word women say. I mean, men don't hear. The words don't get in the ear. There's an enzyme missing somehow, and the words just... Just keep ricocheting up. If you could just hear the way we hear. Our ears are like shortwave radios that never quite come in. It's always like... We catch a phrase every so often. Like, cars in the shop. New curtains. See, everything to us is like a train going by. Don't forget dinner Saturday night. You see, that's actually the way we hear. Hey, maybe that helps just knowing that, huh? What do you think? Men don't hear a word women say. And this is not just romantic couples either. This goes between generations. I'll bet you most of the women here know the feeling of going home for Thanksgiving dinner and Dad says, so, how's everything going at the bank? Advertising. Dad, 12 years, worked for an advertising agency. All righty. And how's Jim? Bill, Dad, Bill, you know. Hey, don't be mad at me because you lost the job at the bank. Men don't hear a word women say. Men listen sometimes. One time. Men listen on a first date. Men will listen on a first date. A first date is the only time in a relationship a woman ever sees this face on a man. Still can't hear a word, by the way. It's still just... But we are listening, you know. That's why men have learned to repeat 3 phrases over and over again on a first date. Uh-huh. Oh, really? And, well, what are you going to do? These cover just about everything, you know. Uh-huh. Oh, really? Well, what are you going to do? This also neatly covers the fact that what we're really thinking is, oh, just one more button and I could see them. Uh-huh. Oh, really? Well, what are you going to do? Men don't hear a word women say, and it's a problem. This is also why most of the time men don't hear when women tell jokes. Now, you tell me if this scene doesn't sound familiar. 3 couples are out at dinner and everyone's having fun and the glasses are toasting and the food is good and could we have a little more butter, please? And I'm telling you, just one more day and Schwarzkopf would have been in Baghdad and everything's going well. And then over coffee, one of the men tells a joke and it's a good joke and everyone laughs. And then one of the women tells a joke and it's a good joke and everyone... The restaurant stops dead. The chef leans out the kitchen. A busboy pours too much water. And in the distance, a lonely dog barks. And somewhere high in another part of the city, the Riddler plans his next move. I just like saying that. What happens when women tell jokes? I think I'll tell you what I think happens. Men take things so literally. When a woman tells a joke, he'll take it right on the nose. Honey, wait just a second here. Now, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but now why would Moses and Jesus be playing golf in the first place? I mean, that just plain didn't happen, I'll tell you that. Anyway, Tom, a Frenchman, a Scotsman, and a Swede are on a desert island. Men don't hear a word women say. And if the TV is on, good luck now. You might as well be talking to someone on life support. And if it's a ball game, That's the first half. Men don't hear a word women say. Now, women hear every word men say. You know that that's true. Women hear every word men say. Women hear and believe. And worst of all for men, women remember. Boy, do you remember. I'm telling you, the CIA could save a lot of money on all that wiretapping equipment if they just hired more women. The next time one of these government guys got on the stand and says, gee, it happened so long ago, I can't really remember what I said. Then the woman could go, I do. You do? Oh, yes. He said it's illegal to sell guns. Then he said we have to support the rebels. Then he said, did you get all the money in advance? Then he said, yes, I have it all right here. Oh, and then they watch porno movies. Your Honor, I think it was Long Dong Silver. Your Honor! She couldn't possibly remember all that. Of course she can, you idiot. She's a woman. Oh, that's right. See, the problem is, women hear everything that was said, but usually not everything that was meant. This has caused problems sometimes. A little misunderstanding. For instance, when a man says, I'll call you tomorrow. The woman, can you imagine, actually expects him to call. It's crazy, isn't it, fellas? Now, the poor woman is obviously misplaced her male-female translation guide. Let me help. Let me translate for you. I'll call you tomorrow means don't hold your breath. So you see how easy this is, really? Here's another commonly misunderstood one. When a man says, what do you mean, am I married? Now, this is sometimes heard in the shorter slang, married? Now, this means, hey, look, we're here now. Okay? Here's another one. When a man says, she meant nothing to me. Now, this one is sometimes heard in the longer, formal version, I swear, honey, she meant nothing to me. Now, this means, how in the world did you ever find out? And, of course, the champion of all time of misunderstood phrases, I love you. This has caused problems. A lot of the women might not have heard this one. It's very rarely used. It's almost archaic, in fact, but... Now, again, the problem is when a man says, I love you, the woman will think, strange as it may seem, oh, he loves me. Nothing could be further from the truth. Again, the problem is when a woman says, I love you, she means, I love you. When a man says it, he means, now will you go to bed with me? So... I think you can detect the common thread running through all these. Now, by the way, I know a lot of the women are thinking, oh, wait a minute, so this means men are just hypocrites and liars. Well, that's one way to look at it, all right. Yeah. But there's an entirely different way to look at it, though. Well, yeah, it's a sad truth, isn't it? Men are fools. Not all men, though. It's sad, isn't it? Well, I'll tell you one thing we do share, especially in our generation. We're not adults. I mean, we never grew up. Look at us. We're not like our parents or grandparents. I mean, adults, for goodness sake. Adults. Does anyone here have the slightest idea what they're doing? Adults, come on. We all look in that mirror in the morning, brushing the teeth, just, I'm lost. I have no idea what's going on. I bought these shoes. Other than that, I'm out of it completely. It's all a charade. Adults. It's worse with men because we think we know what we're doing. We don't. Men look like they do sometimes. When men get the suit and the briefcase happening, we kind of look like we know what's going on. Hiya, Bill. You know, that looks pretty good for a second, doesn't it? You know. Of course, when we get together, it's just like, do you have any idea what's happening? I thought you could help me, yeah. Well, you bought those shoes, didn't you? Well, I'll check with the other fellas then. Adults. My friends are having kids now, which amazes me. I know these people. I grew up with them. They're idiots. They're just having kids all over the place. They didn't even have to take a test. Every time a friend of mine has a kid, I go over to the crib and say, do you know, I used to hold your father's head while he threw up. And that was last night. Good luck. Yeah, we've all had those wilder days in our past, haven't we? That's why when you finally have kids, you go, 10 fingers, 10 toes. Oh.